Whoop whoop, he says, as Paul works on replacing his hearing aid batteries.
What'd you say?
Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 559 of the Dead Robot Society. I'm Paul Liakuli, one of your hosts. The other one, who's on the other side of the window, that would be that guy Terry Mixon.
Are you still with the show?
Ooh.
I thought your work life had ate you up.
Ooh. Had ate me up? Had eaten me up? You write grammar good?
I done that grammar good there. Ho!
Yeah, I got a little busy and spent a couple of all-nighters. So for day job number one, day job number one. So I was kind of out of the loop last week and unable to record, so much less video edit. So this episode's late. Sorry about that, but tough shit.
Folks, you should be absolutely happy that we've waited this long to have the show recorded, because for the last week, every time I said, "Hey, Paul, are we going to do a show?" Fuck off. That's the response.
I did not say that.
Fuck off.
I did not say that.
Okay, he did not say that, but it would be really funny.
But you heard it in your head every time, right?
Sort of.
Well, it was really funny because I solved the problem that kept me up for 2 days. I solved it 3 hours before the app had to be absolutely finished.
That's cutting it.
Yeah. And you know what it required? Me rewriting the code. I found bugs in the components I was using. I found bugs in my bugs. I found bugs in their bugs. I found bugs everywhere. So it's just easier just to rewrite it. So, yeah. And now I just feel like I need to be kicked over and over again for being that stupid, but whatever. It is what it is. I got it done. Everybody's more or less happy. So, yeah.
What's this I hear about you taking over as, the tech support for this app? People calling at your house on your cell phone? No?
I know you listeners can't see, but I just let double birds fly. So, yeah. There's a whole squadron of birds flying across the screen. Anyway, that's been my life. I did manage to get some writing done, so I've gotten, 3,500 words written since last time we spoke.
That's excellent.
Considering, yeah, I'll take it. Anyway, what about you, man?
I've been writing. Managed to write every day since we last spoke. I think this month I'm not sure where I'm sitting at. 15,000, maybe 20,000 words somewhere. So I'm still on course to make as many words as I did last month. I would like to do more. The last few days have not been, very helpful because I've had lots of things going on during the day. But hey, that's life. I'll keep swinging, keep doing it. It's a matter of what I can get accomplished. It's a marathon, not a race. It's not how fast I finish the book. It's I finish the book.
Yeah, it's kind of where I've got to be with what's going on right now. Although the other night, man, I was so goddamn wired. I sat down and I cranked out like 1,400 words in under 40 minutes and was just kind of like, where did the freaking time go? And then I was just realized after I wrote it, I went to go get some water and I realized I can barely keep my eyes open. I need to go to sleep now. It was really, really wired. And then it was like, I have to go. I have to go now. I can't stay awake. I just can't do it. It sucked. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to writing at least, 2 or 3 hours a day now that I've got things under control for the moment. We'll see how that lasts.
Yeah, I just looked. I've had 17,000 words so far this month. So I'll be close to the 40,000 I did last month. I want to get more than that. It's a matter of building up doing it every day, doing the same things every day, and letting that repetition get into my life again.
Yeah, once you.
But even so, 40,000 words a month, still a win.
40K a month. I would die to do 40K a month. Ugh, I hate you so much right now. Yeah, 40K a month would be perfect in my world. That'd be awesome. $4 a year, roughly. Yeah, I could do it. I just need to get off my ass and do it. But I got work stuff to do and bills to pay and that kind of thing. So that's coming first right now. So,
other than that, I'm not doing a whole lot. Veronica is recording Blood of Patriots. I've got a anthology coming out in the next couple of days, Expanding Universe 5, that I've got a short story in, my second Zag the Bounty Hunter story.
Right.
It's available for pre-order. So if you want to go check that out, you can check that out.
And J.R. Handley's anthology, Contact This, which I'm in. I think, are you in that one as well?
I'm not. I've got a story in his post-apocalyptic one that's coming out sometime after that.
Okay, well, my new story, Whispers, is in that anthology, and everybody, there's probably a lot more DRS writers in there that I'm aware of. So go check it out. It's out there in ebook, and I'm pretty sure they're doing a print book. I think that's right. Anyway, yeah, it'll be fun. At least I published something recently. Something for
2019. Check.
Yeah, no shit. Two somethings for 2019. The Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
Came out early this year. So, yeah, I'm in two things. Pathetic. I need to be in 4 or 5. Anyway, that notwithstanding. Terry, I saw It Part 2 this weekend.
I haven't even seen It Part 1, and I don't plan on it. But I've heard reviews that It Part 2 was a little self-indulgent.
Bullshit.
Oh, there we go.
Fuck the haters. I thought it was good. I thought it was good for what it was and what it had to be. I liked what they did. They did it the right way. The only self-indulgent part was having so many people make fun of the writer who was essentially an analog to Stephen King about how bad his endings suck. That was hilarious. It was a good gag all the way through the movie. And it even had Stephen King telling the guy his endings sucked. It was hilarious. So, yes, it was self-indulgent, but the other thing it did was it had a scene from The Thing. It did the homage to The Thing where the head sprouts legs and gets up and starts walking around. And one of the characters said exactly the same line as the character in The Thing did. You gotta be fucking kidding me. I just about cheered. I mean, popcorn was flying everywhere. I was so happy with that scene. It was awesome. So maybe it was self-indulgent, but I had fun. I had fun with it.
Good then.
So
this is a good thing.
Fuck the haters. I don't know what they expected. That book will never like a lot of Stephen King books, will never properly translate to the screen. It's just not possible. And it was written in a time with 80s. Actually, there were 50s horror monster movies that the kids all saw things from, because the story took place in the 50s. So it was all the movie monsters that were at the matinees. It was like the creature from the Black Lagoon would show up to scare the shit out of them. Oh God, what's the other movie? There were so many of them. I think it came back as the Mummy at one point. Came back as the Wolfman. It was all sorts of these different creatures, but they're all 50s monster movies. So how do you update that?
I'm not sure.
I mean, it's hard. It's really, really difficult because what do you got? You got the Alien, you got the Thing, you've got some of those creatures and etc. And you can kind of ape them, but it just doesn't have the same effect because they're not as iconic, I guess. But they are. It's hard. It's really, really difficult to see it because I remember my first horror movies I ever watched were things like The Creature from the Black Lagoon, the old 50s and 40s horror movies. And the present day ones, I just didn't imprint me the same way as those early films when I was 7 years old watching them on black and white.
The ones that I remember from the earliest moments is watching the 50s sci-fi, 50s, 60s sci-fi, where they're dressed in aluminum foil.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've got little spaceships hanging on their little cables, being run around to do this. We're talking pre-Star Trek stuff.
Thunderbirds are go.
I think we're talking before that.
Yeah,
even.
we are.
But it's stuff that tons of old cheesy science fiction movies that no one ever will remember. But the same way of that horror that you're talking about, I still remember bits and pieces of it.
Yeah. Michael Landon is the freaking werewolf. How terrifying was that? Just think about that for a minute. Little House in the Prairie.
Go deep with that one.
Oh, no, thank you. Anyway, the reason why I brought this up was because it is all about doing horrible things to characters. So I
Is
figured
that what your life is about?
oh yes, absolutely. So I figured we'd go ahead and make that a topic. I don't know why I went back to Trident today. I have no clue, but I did. And freed up some stuff and started something else that will be really cool. So I kind of want to get back to that, but at the same time, I want to get back to my other story that I was writing, Signal Decay, and get another 10,000 words on that puppy because I think I know where I'm going. Actually, I know exactly where I'm going. It's how to get there. It's how to get there. Sometimes you get two choices, Terry. You know how this works. You get two choices. You can either go straight for the action piece and make it crazy after that, and then maybe try and build some suspense afterwards, but you've kind of already blown your load. So there's only so much higher you can get in certain stories. So you have to kind of sprinkle in a little bit of action with the suspense and finding things out, mystery and everything else, because if you have that action sequence early, I think you fuck it all up.
Yeah. I personally agree with that sentiment that you shouldn't start with action. I think that does a disservice to your story.
Well, I'm like 7, 8, 9,000 words in. The character is learning about her environment. She's only been there 2 weeks. She's learning how things work, right? She's had all these classes and everything else, but they kind of keep her segregated until it's time for her to actually like do the dangerous shit, right? So I can't have everything go haywire around her now. It's too early because she hasn't noticed any signs of anything weird. And I don't want her to see that on her first week there because I think that would be kind of a problem too. Regardless, I need to come up with a way to waste a couple of her days with more shit going wrong, before we get to the crazy. And that's always interesting because you have to figure out what the right pacing is for those series of events and how they need to happen.
I'm in the middle of the book that I'm currently writing, and I'm just about to initiate a combat sequence with multiple points of view, as I usually do. And I know that I need to go ahead, if I'm going to make this something that matters, the characters think they've got the handle on things. I need to make it so they don't.
Right.
I need to basically turn their world upside down and shake them a little bit because they need some setbacks about this point. And this fight is going to provide it. I do. It's not that things have gone well for them, but things have been a little too smooth recently. I need to go ahead and throw in those monkey wrenches. Throw in a couple of clogs into the windmills.
Yeah, but what does that look like? Does it look like conflict between the groups? Does it look like conflict with a simple obstacle getting their way or suddenly entangling things even worse?
In this case, it's conflicts between the group, but they already know who the other group is. They know what's coming. They know the other group has some heavy weaponry. I just need to up the ante, and the other group has to kill some people. They need to do some terrible things, and there needs to be a huge setback.
So initiate the action and force them to read out.
They triggered the ambush because they know where the bad guys are. Now the ambush is going to eat them.
It was a little better than they suspected. Is that what you're telling me?
That's exactly the way I'm going to play it.
Okay.
And that the heroes don't have nearly as much technology on the weapons side as they might otherwise have. The bad guys have already shown that they have anti-armor weapons that can take out somebody in powered armor. I need to up the ante and make sure that the death toll is significant. They're going to have to work for this.
Where are you going to weed out the red shirts? And here we were talking about the fact that you don't do this. You're just going to mow down a bunch of NPCs. Is that basically how it is? You're going to have blood guts everywhere.
I may kill somebody. I may kill one of the named characters. You never know.
You wouldn't do that. You're too much of a wuss.
I've done it before.
That doesn't count. You got to go higher up the chain.
He was kind of important.
Higher up the chain.
I don't know about that high up the chain.
I love giving you shit.
I need to use those people, but, you know, I brought Scott Roche back from the dead. Maybe I should kill him again.
Poor Scott.
You laugh. I'm
Scott.
being serious.
Yeah, I'll just bring back Red and kill him again in the Black. Black 5.
Well,
maybe this one I'll do in the 5th Black book. I'll put that another character named Red and kill him again. Or maybe there'll be 2 characters named Red, just to just as a fuck you to the people who got it in the first book.
That could be fun. But in this case, I brought back people from another dimension because that was, you know, part of the whole playbook that I laid down.
I know, because you had a senior moment and went wiggy.
I did not. I thought it would be fun, and I'm having fun with it. But I brought Scott back to life. I could kill him off again.
We have the technology.
We could have 2 dead Scotts.
Deadscott.com. I'm going to see if that's registered. It's just terrible.
There's a couple of other medium rank characters that I could kill off, but he's the most handy now that I think about it. So I'm afraid that his death warrant may be signed. And it would cause, you know, a lot of angst with alternate Kelsey.
I am coming up to that point where I have to decide who's going to live in Derelict. That point is coming very soon. And I haven't decided just how bad it's going to be because I need some of these people around for shipyards. But I think that the body count is going to rise pretty high by the middle of that book.
Wait a second. Have we actually wandered into a show topic here? Who will die?
That's a completely different deal. Who will die?
How do you decide out of your characters, your set of characters, who is going to die and who is going to live? Maybe this is a show topic to start off with here.
Okay, so that all depends on what you're writing. It really does. Because if you're writing a standalone book, anybody's fair game, pretty much. But we'll get into the specifics of that and what I mean by that. If you're writing a series that has a lot of different characters and that is finite, then you have some interesting choices to make. If you're writing what you write, there are certain things that are not choices. If the series is finite, especially at the end of the series, you have the opportunity, and nay, in my kind of books anyway, the responsibility to make sure that not everybody comes out of there alive. Because it amps up the suspense, I want to give you a good idea or a good reason to like these people, and then for the book to have meaning when things go really sideways. And some of them are going to come out in body bags. It's just the way it is. And it can either be a heroic end, or it can just be the tentacle went through the vents and grabbed them, and it's just like, oh, fuck, anybody's fair game. Yeah, I love that. I love doing that because I'm cruel and evil. That's where you can get away with that. And if you've got a standalone, the same rules apply as a finite series. Same exact rules.
Thus far, when I've killed off somebody that had a somewhat major role in the story, I've made their deaths mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this time I'm going to make it more random chance.
Yeah, I had to make that decision in Evolution, and I hated it because I liked the character. I had plans for the character, but it was the right thing to do. And so I did it. And some people weren't happy with that, but tough shit. It is what I needed to happen. So that's what happened.
For me, it's not something that I have to do, but since it's Scott, it's something I want to do. Killing him off is one of those little pleasures in life.
I still, even today, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. I got a message to my Facebook page, author page, saying, "Can I please be killed in one of your books?" It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? I hate to tell him there's a long line. I still have to get through quite a few people.
I actually had no intention of killing off a named character. Just this conversation made it imperative that I got to kill somebody. So Scott's the poor sucker that's going to get it.
Well, shit happens. Shit happens.
And, one of the benefits of life in writing these things is it doesn't have to be death. I can gravely injure someone.
Absolutely. I did.
For me, the characters have what amounts to almost miraculous tech when it comes to medical technology, of which I have taken away almost every single little bit of it for this book.
That's when things get fun. I mean, if your entire technology or your way of fighting battles is don't worry about it, you can take a few shots because we can fix this. You can take damn near maiming and we can still fix it. Hell, maybe we can fix it if you're maimed.
They can. They can fix maiming.
And then all of that goes away. Yeah, everything changes. Everything changes.
The stakes go way up.
Because suddenly you know that next bullet is your last. Any bullet is your last. There's no getting around it. The power armor is not going to help you. You've got all these other issues. And then on top of that, yeah, shit happens. It's going to take, we're back to medieval times as far as medicine.
Well, that is not quite the case.
Oh, that's what you could do, though.
They've got a trained doctor who's up on the technology. She's got a modern emergency medical kit. But if I go ahead and gravely injure someone beyond her ability to stabilize them in the middle of a battle, they can bleed out right in front of them.
Yeah.
And I can make this a horrible, horrible death in the point of view that under any other circumstances, he would be saved.
Right.
And it drives home the bad place that they're in.
Right. And the fact that how powerless they are to control what's going on or be able to use the tools they used to have to actually deal with it. That's a tough thing. And that is one of those situations I love to do. Take people who are otherwise competent with weapons or scientific know-how or whatever else, and then strip it all away and leave them bare-knuckled and brawling.
Well, that's true too. But in this particular case, it's going to allow me to do something with one of the characters that survives the experience.
Is there ever a point where in a finite series or a standalone you think you cannot kill main characters?
Yes.
When?
When it would be to the detriment of the enjoying of the readers for the rest of the story, however long it's going to be.
Now, how do you determine that?
You've got to keep in mind, based on the kind of story that you're writing, who you have to have standing when it's over. Some genres, like the suspense / horror that you favor, you can kill off a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
For your regular space opera, you can kill off some people, but you better keep most of your main characters standing at the end of it, or you're going to have some very unhappy readers.
Right, yeah. Well, it changes the series, though, right? If you have a minor character that you get to really like and they get blown out of the water in the first book or the first half of the book, first 3/4 of the book, it really changes the flavor of the book in a big, big way. If you remove one of those secondary characters who's been around a very long time, even though maybe we formed a connection with them as a reader, and surely another character has formed a bond with them, and when we snuff them out or something really horrible happens to that character, it affects us. If the writer has done their job, if the storyteller has done their job, it affects the reader or the viewer. That's what you want, man. That's what I create. That's what I long to give folks, is that, these people matter. And that what happens to them matters, because you want them to win. Well, they don't always win. And sometimes they lose in really terrible fashion. And that's why we watch these stories. That's why we read these books. That's why all of this is there because we're interested in how it continues. We're interested in what happens to people. We're interested in what the stakes are. All those things matter.
You can take through the events of who you choose to kill off, you can take a good character that survives the experience and scar them in a way that will make the story stronger and allow them to do things that are darker. In fact, not just allow them, mandate, demand that they do something to retaliate. An eye for an eye, limb for a limb, death for a death.
Or they internalize it and it becomes a crushing guilt.
Mm-hmm. Could I kill her off? I could kill her off, but I'm not going to. It's much easier to kill Scott. No, I'm serious. His death would be his death would be a catalyzing moment for one of the main characters.
Right.
It serves a much better purpose for me than killing off her herself, because it makes the character that she is into something new and interesting. True.
One of the strategies I use for that is I figure out whether or not this is a person that needs to be around for the next leg of the story. And sometimes removing a red shirt from the equation is simply done to show something horrible that could happen to one of the main characters, and also to basically winnow down the human count so that when it comes time to do the shit, they don't have enough people to go around to do everything. But I couldn't start with a small complement. This is already a small complement of Marines on a ship. I think there are a total of 12 of them. So just taking away one person severely affects how much manpower they have. Take away 3 or 4, suddenly you don't have fire teams. You don't have a real squad. You've got a couple of people trying to cover each other's asses while hell's breaking loose. So by cutting down the number of humans available to do the jobs, we've ratcheted up the boiler, because there's so many things you can do with more people, and taking them away to begin with, it makes for some fun.
In my case, I've got a lot of people that are available for this.
Yeah,
I'm going to turn her into a beast. It may not last forever, but for a good chunk of the remainder of this novel, she is going to be well predisposed to kill the obstacles in her way.
I gotcha. You're such a torturous bastard.
No, I'm not. Which makes when I do the torturous things have that much more impact.
This is true. This is true. I haven't gone nearly as far as I can, and I'm going to start ratcheting up things in Trident for the second part of the book is where the shit's going to go down, because everything else has really just been a precursor to the shit going down. And now I've got 1 quarter and an entire book for all of this shit to go down. So I got to start ratcheting that shit up real soon.
I'm at about 50,000 words, so I'm just slightly past the midpoint of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So I can clear a lot of pieces off the board at this particular point and aim the rest of them at some revenge, if you will. The bad guys that they're going to be fighting, that are going to hand them this big old setback, they have the key for them to continue on in the journey.
Right.
So that's going to give motive and opportunity to what I'm going to do for the closing of the novel. I needed a reason for them to go, and I had a cerebral reason for them to go to the bad guy's city. Now I've got one that includes payback, so that's got to be worth something.
You're just adding more motivation.
It is, and I hadn't had this motivation until we talked about it here. It's true. I'm a pantser. I'll pick up little bits and pieces and add in, and I like what we've talked about, how it's encouraged me to go ahead and have a bloodbath scene in the middle of this damn book.
Yay! Terry's growing up. Yay!
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far.
Oh, come on. You haven't lived until you've done horrible things to your main characters.
I've got 200 people that are on this planet. In this battle, what say I go ahead and kill off Scott Roche and another 100 of them, and then maim another 40 or 50?
There you go.
I could chew them up like a meat grinder.
Yeah, actually, more wounded is better because they're more of a pain in the ass to deal with than a corpse.
Well, in this case, they're friendlies that they're in contact with. So I can shuffle off a whole bunch of people and make the force that goes forward into the end of the book that much smaller.
Yeah, the walking wounded and those who didn't make it.
No, I'm actually talking about, for the rest of this particular novel, shuffling off the walking wounded.
Ah, okay.
So that they're down to, say, 4 dozen people. From the unnamed grunts up to the named characters to deal with what they've got to deal with.
Death is a way to cull characters. There are times when you do have to have something happen and like an explosion or something along those lines, say it's on an oil rig. Chances are not everybody's going to come out of that unscathed, just for reality purposes. And for it to have meaning, it has to be something that really affects one of the other characters. And there's a lot of ways to do that, which is have one of their friends get blown up or have that explosion happen right near them, so that maybe they get a little piece of it, but nothing too terrible. And then, of course, you have the occurrence where that could basically be the kickoff for what drives the rest of the action.
Lois McMaster Bujold wrote a series dealing with a character called Miles of Orkskin. And he comes from a family of nobility and warriors. He's not much of a fighter per se, but he's got his own issues there. But she wrote 2 novels that involved his parents back before he was born, long before he was born. It dealt with, in fact, when they met. And in this book where they met, she and he were both stranded on the same planet, being on different sides of a war. And he had with him one of his subordinates. He was an officer, senior officer in their military. One of the people that he had with him was gravely injured in the fighting, to the point to where it basically turned him into a walking vegetable. And they had to care for him throughout the entirety of that novel to keep him from basically just wandering into death, because he wasn't cognizant. And he never did become cognizant. He basically got shuffled off to what amounted to hospice care after that, when they finally got off the planet. But they had to care for that person because he could no longer care for himself.
Wouldn't it have been easier just to put a bullet in his head and move on?
I think part of the challenge there was that was not how either of them were.
Okay.
He was the subordinate of the father, and the father's honor would not allow him to leave his man behind, and it certainly wouldn't allow him to just kill him for convenience.
Well, that's interesting.
There's a quote in there that sticks with me. I'll probably mangle it while I'm telling it. But he said to someone else, he says, "Do you know what the difference is between honor and reputation?" He said, "Reputation is what other people think about you. Honor is what you think about yourself." And so it was a matter of honor that person, he couldn't leave his subordinate to die. No matter that no one else would know. It didn't matter. It was a matter of honor. He would know.
So that brings up another part of this is, even if the character is not directly affected, taking out one of their, somebody that they feel responsible for, or somebody they love or are friends with, doing that is almost as bad in some cases as killing off the character.
It can be worse.
Yeah, especially if there's, brain blown. That would be pretty rough. All these things that we have to think about and don't have to think about. I kind of go with my instinct. I don't sit there and plan it out and agonize over who I'm going to kill. I do sit there and I wobble back and forth until I figure out exactly what the end of the story looks like or what the next 50 pages look like. But I usually have a pretty good idea when I start the book who's going to be around for it.
Personally, I think that you are more like the guy that sits there and goes, "Who will I kill next?"
No, but I do sit there and think, all right, I got to give this character an epic death. How are we going to do this? How is this going to happen?
Riding a nuclear weapon like it's a horse.
Oh boy! If you don't get the reference, it's Doctor Strangelove. That was Slim Pickens, right? Isn't
I can't remember
Slim
the
Pickens
name.
riding the bomb down. Pretty sure it is. Pretty sure it is.
There's an epic death that you're not going to forget.
Yeah, it's been how many years? What was that? 50 years ago?
A long ass time.
40 something years ago? I have to go look that up. I don't think I've ever seen that movie from beginning to end. Don't think I've ever seen it from beginning to end. I've always caught pieces of it. When it was always on TV, I was too young to understand what the hell was going on with that flick. You can't fight it in here. This is the war room. Great lines. Just great lines. Love it. I honestly would love to be the guy or the person who writes a one-liner like that in a book and it just, kind of takes off. Hear people quoting it. That would just be too cool. I don't want attribution. I just want people to hear people saying it. That would be awesome. So does that need to be my new tagline? Awesome Possum. Is that the new tagline now?
No.
No. Awesome Possum. Okay, just checking. Just checking. So what other horrible things can you do to a character?
Well, let's see. We've talked about maiming and killing them. What about psychological scarring?
Take away best friends, take away lovers, or have them witness something absolutely horrible.
No. Force them to do something
that goes against their character.
That goes against their character because they have no choice. Put them in a situation where somebody that has got this prohibition against killing must kill to save other people. You put them in this place that they're going to commit an action that they will never get over.
And could be seen as murder.
Well, it's just whatever I'm not suggesting specifically that one thing.
Right.
You could pick any number of things that they would have to commit an action for the greater good that would haunt them for the rest of their days.
Sending an innocent person to prison knowingly for a bigger thing could be a problem.
Could be a problem. Forcing someone to betray their country that they love because in that betrayal, even though they'll be seen as a traitor, they will save millions of lives.
Or because it was the right thing to do.
So their reputation will suffer, but they're doing what honor requires.
And then you have to get the chance to sit there and second guess, was this really worth it?
Mm-hmm. So you can find a whole bunch of things to put them into a place that there is no good solution, and the best solution is really bad.
There's only 3 kind of solutions: suck, bad, and holy shit, how the hell are we going to deal with this?
You need to put them in a place where suicide after the fact may be a viable option.
At least maybe considered as a viable option. Because we all have those moments in the wee hours of the morning, the small hours when little depression creeps on you like little cat feet from the fog.
Call the suicide helpline, man. You don't need that. While everybody has darkness in the night, not everybody thinks that ending it is the right answer. And It's probably, if you think it is the right answer, you probably should call somebody.
Yeah, probably. Or get medicated, or both. Or both, yes. Hence why I'm still here.
Yeah, other than then death or maiming, you can cause those psychological scars. And if you're writing a series, then you have to, in the next book, deal with the psychological scars that come out of that.
That is really the trick, right? You have to do, if you want to do it that way, there's only so much damage you can do. And like you said, in the next book, you have to take care of it. You have to basically revisit that. It could be something you end up revisiting for the rest of the series. It could be that detrimental. But if it's going to mean anything to me as the reader, that next book better have a lot to do with that, with getting over that particular issue, whatever.
I'm going to bring up the In Death series by J.D. Robb, who is Nora Roberts, writing under a pseudonym.
Okay.
There's like, God, I want to say that there are 48 or 49 books in that series at this point. So that character has been around for dozens of books. When she started out, that character had nightmares, had the type of horrific childhood and events in the childhood that were abuse, that were so terrible that the only way out was for a child of 7 or 8 to knife her father and kill him to save her own life.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a problem.
Terrible, awful things. For book after book after book, she's had to deal with the nightmares and revisiting those moments in the past. And only after many books has the tone of those changed over time. So that character has dealt with the consequences of her younger life for more books than we'll ever write. It's a great example of a character having to deal with those kind of consequences.
And they can jump out, and you can reference them in the next few books, even if it is just passing, or have the occasional reminder trickle in. One of the things I do that I think drives everybody absolutely stark raving bonkers is that I will mention some event and then not really go into it, because it's something I don't know if I'm going to write, but I want to lay the groundwork for it, because here's where it would go.
Are you sure it's not because you're just a cliffhangering bastard?
Or it could just be I'm a cliffhangering bastard, and that's what it is. That could be, that is possible. You do have a point there. It is writer vomit. It is subconscious screaming onto the page that, hey, this is a really cool squirrel you should chase, but not now. But I want your readers prepared for it.
You want to know about this? Too bad.
Yeah, I'm
That's
a dick.
you being mean. You're abusing your readers.
Well, I mentioned the Satellite War and the Mars Rebellion throughout all 3 books, and I have never really gone into what the hell exactly happened. Well, I'm proud to say I now have both of those books outlined.
It's because you don't know what happens in them.
I do now. I outlined the fucking things. Because I needed to know something for Trident and Shipyards, and I needed to put that trail in here if I'm going to write those 2 books. So I said, shit, I need to figure out how this all happened, and then I wrote it, or wrote it down. Got the IRCs ready, probably 40, 50,000, 60,000 word book for each. Short, good to go.
So basically what you're saying is those are going to be 100,000 word novels.
Shut up. Nobody's listening to you. Nobody likes you.
Everyone listens to me, even if they don't like me.
Nobody likes you. So anyway, leaving those little threads or mentioning something like that, it always, when I'm a reader and I see that, I remember it. It just kind of comes out of left field. And if the writer hits it again, then I know goddamn well we're going to get into that sooner or later. It may not be in this book. You only hit it once. It may just be kind of a weird thing to put out there that the writer didn't come back and address. They hit it twice. I'm getting the feeling this is a little bit more important than it first seemed, especially if it's thought of or mentioned by more than one character. What are you doing? Oh, never mind. He rescued Minnie. Maybe rescued is the wrong word.
Minnie says, I want up. I want up right now.
Please pause while Terry takes care of Fur.
It's what happens, man.
You leave threads, right?
Leaves. You would not believe how many open hooks I have left sitting out there that I could come back to if I want.
So it's not just me. It's not just me. You do it too.
Oh, I do it a lot.
Well, there you go.
It's an artifact of me being a discovery writer. I'll write things and I'll put things that are interesting in, and then the story will take a turn, and I'll have to leave that hook behind. Sometimes I'll come back and revisit it. Other times, nope, it just sits out there untouched.
Yeah, when I get back to writing Garaga or the Tony Down stuff, those who have been reading me for a very long time are going to go, oh, because it will put together pieces that they may not have been able to put together because we'll finally complete the picture to a certain degree, or this corner of
the big puzzle. Reveal. It's like Tom Cruise pulling off the skin mask.
And it's Tom Cruise.
And it's Tom Cruise underneath it.
Exactly.
Or it's John Travolta, and he's going,
they're the same person. What are you talking about? Anyway, wow, did I really say that out loud? Yeah, I guess
you did.
I did. That was Starkey.
I don't know where we go from that.
I don't know where the hell we go from that either. Except, I want somebody out there to put together a meme of Terry doing that John Travolta thing. I want to see it. I want to see it. Just take that meme, put his face on it. It'll be awesome. There. You have your mission, folks. You have your mission now. All right. Well, it has been a while. So perhaps we should finish this episode off so I can get back to being terribly busy.
That's right, because we don't want you to have any, time off to relax, talking, writing, or something.
Yeah. I'm lucky I got any of that done today. Well, I guess I hosted this disaster area.
Well, at least you led us into the topic.
Yeah, I do that occasionally. Well, if you'd like to tell us that we're completely wrong about characterizations and every story should end with rainbows farting out of a unicorn, you can send us an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can tweet me at Paul_E_Cooley. You can find us on Facebook at the Listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group, where all the crazy kids hang out. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast if you want to see our ugly mugs. Or if you want to support us, you can join us at patreon.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive content like live shows, which we did not do this month.
Bad hosts.
Bad hosts. We'll have to correct that. We will very, very soon. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Andrew Smallwood, J.D. Barker, Aaron Meeser, Jesse Elefino Orcutt, Veronica Jaguar, currently recording Blood of Patriots. She's worried the hurricane's going to interfere with her recording, by the way.
She's already sent me an email saying that she's boarding up, so things are on hiatus until the weather settles down a bit.
I think it would be awesome for one of your books to be read aloud during a hurricane and recorded. I think that would be fucking awesome.
And then the blaster went off. Kablam!
Any of you in Florida, I hope you're taking care. Kelson, Isabel Cushy, Rick, stringing these glyphs is hard. Shaw, Lisa Slack, Nathan Cosby, Cheryl Winters, Tracy Bodine, Devin Lee, Drew, Angry Fiesta, Rodan Bernardi. We still have to have a conversation about this, Drew. I want to find out exactly what that is. Chris Winder, Andre Conde Moraes, and J.R. Handley. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of our patrons. And with that, we are out of here. Right?
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, you need to work on your Schwarzenegger impression. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't care.
It shows. Later.